Oh, great. I see it now.
And great, we are live and want to welcome everyone to another episode of Solutionaries, where we like to interview various individuals and organizations that are doing solution-based work around sustainability and having a regenerative and green future. And today I'm broadcasting live from the cloud here in Crestone, Colorado. It's one of the warmer, sunny days. We've had a lot of rain here this year, but I'm really happy to be talking with our next guest, DanielKennedy from Western Colorado Tiny Houses. So welcome to Solutionaries.
Thank you, Michael. I'm excited.
Great. Well, we met at one of our, we've been traveling around the last year doing these regenerative roundtables in California and Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado, just to kind of survey the landscape and see who's doing what. And in that, we've done a couple of Regenesis gathering events, which are larger 1 day or 3 day events. And we met you in Paonia in the park there, where we did a Regenesis event in collaboration with Marta Sanchez and Caleb and Matthew. And we got to meet, and I was really impressed because not only do you have a big vision, but you're actually doing it. So tell us a little bit about Western Colorado Tiny Houses.
Our vision is world domination. Jokes aside, I started the company 4 years ago with a mission to build affordable structures and build basically a more affordable, better, easier tiny home for the Western USA. And obviously, housing is a big issue in Colorado in the West. And for me, it's just a chance to be able to work on one of the many issues in the world. There's a lot I would like to work on, but this is something very concrete that people need. And so it's just one way that I can help, short of farming food and helping everyone in the world. It's basically a small $49,000 home that we can deliver throughout the Western USA. It's plug and play. It's got a kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, and it gives people a chance to have an affordable small home.
So obviously, I mean, this is not just on planting food or doing ag and becoming more food secure, or popping up maybe some off-grid technology. I mean, you're doing a huge undertaking by helping to provide housing for people, whether low income or maybe land issues, and also making it affordable. So what's your background and what inspired you to take on this colossal and amazing solution-based project?
It is colossal and it gets very hot sometimes. We build our homes outdoors on the side of the highway in Western Colorado. It is colossal, it is hot, but it is enjoyable. The inspiration came from, so I've always been around design, construction, and business stuff. And honestly, the inspiration came from me being a little bit homeless around 5 years ago in Paonia, and needing a home for myself. And so I built one, and then I built another one, and then I realized I had a company, and then that quickly morphed into realizing that this is something we need. There's a lot of tiny home companies building tiny homes, and they're often more expensive. They're very fancy, and there's very few companies. I might be one of the only ones in the country building a full-size tiny home for under $50,000. So there's a huge need for what I call just basic safety for people. People need money, or money, income, job, food. But if you don't have a home, it's very hard to live on a camper and on someone's couch. A lot of my clients are quasi-homeless, and so this just came from starting to realize how dire people are in their housing situation, and that a company or someone just needs to start building homes. And then obviously the regulation permit process is another big part, but that's
well it's such interesting timing, because here in Crestone, I know they just acquired some land to put in a senior low income residential, and this is a project I want to talk more with you about, but especially now with seniors, assisted living. I mean, my mom was in assisted living. It cost almost $5,000 a month just to have very basic accommodation and stuff. So not only you dealing with the issue of low income and housing and potentially being able to help people, but you're also doing it in a way that uses less land and less resource. I mean, typically in America, people buy big properties and have these kind of toxic, gluttonous houses that use a lot of resources. And then on top of that, they pop up a fence, and, you know, neighborhoods have been divided. So it's great that you're actually working on multiple fronts with this tiny house technology to tackle a lot of different problems. So where are you now in the stage? I know I'm going to come out and visit you in the next week on my way back to California. I know you have a place there so in the Delta area and Carbondale Delta area, but what does your facility look like right now, and what's your aspiration over the next year or so?
Excited for your visit. 4 or 5 years into in the company, and I moved out maybe a year and a half ago to a better location that I rent a piece of land right on the side of Highway 50. So there's 1.1 million vehicles a year that drive by. It's a nice spot, and we actually, instead of building in a facility right now, we just build on the side of the road because of cost. I'm not itching right now to build a expensive manufacturing facility. So we're on the side of the road. We have some storage containers for tools. We build our homes. I have my lead carpenter. We build through all the weather all year long. And I'm on a about to start the new home. So I just have a couple old inventory, but we usually build as a clump. So we're about to start a new batch of homes for the fall through winter build, and then we'll be off maybe for a week for winter, and then we'll start spring build. So we're basically chipping away. Next year is a really big year because Colorado has legalized tiny homes, which is the first in the country, and this is always a big deal for me and the other companies. How do we legally permit a home that's built off-site with inspections? So hoping next year we might sell 20 to 30 homes. And I can start advertising to all the mountain towns in Colorado, the big cities, Denver. I'm talking with the zoning and officials there in a lot of bigger cities. So it's really my time starts to more move from building into overseeing production and codes.
Well, I'm really excited because I think that's one area besides this 40 acres that I'm currently on. We're going to be putting on 6 home sites. Green, sustainable, and tiny homes is definitely part of it. Currently, there's a straw bale house and an earthship on the property, but we do want to explore. But we also want to kind of become like a demonstration model and kind of a showroom for all these different technologies, from housing to energy to agriculture, et cetera. So I'm really excited about the work you're doing, because with a background of marketing and having a huge network of people, I think that we're going to really be able to support each other's work, but also support the big vision right now. I mean, I just moved a year ago from California. I mean, the amount of homelessness is really horrific all throughout the Bay Area, Los Angeles. And not only that, but the idea of affordable housing is also a key thing, especially now as we're starting to look at more potential things in the future, like economic collapse, basic social income, the introduction of more technology and artificial intelligence shows that potentially millions of more people are going to be losing their jobs as we become more technological and more automated. So more and more people are going to have to kind of tighten the belt and live by a much simpler means. I mean, here in America, we've enjoyed a pretty entitled and lavish and privileged lifestyle for so long. But it's great because, again, you're really at the cutting edge of providing these solutions for people and getting them out. So we're definitely looking forward to at least having 1 or 2 on the property here. And again, helping to connect you with other people. Currently, I'm actually working with like Colorado Yurt Company and several other companies that we want to kind of, again, help flesh out the center here, because people really do need to come and see how these templates work and to actually experience it. So when you do tiny homes, are they on foundations? Are they on trailers? Are they mobile? Is it a mix? What's kind of your vision for that? Is it out of necessity of how they'll be built on demand? What are your thoughts around that?
I'm just trying to get you a picture of one of our tiny homes. Maybe you all can see a bit, but that's the porch and that's a little home. So my homes they're always one size. So very different concept to other companies. So they're 10 by 20, 200 square foot. They have everything, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, 1-story or 2-story. They're on pressure treated wood skids, so they can sit right on gravel. They are portable to deliver and in future. And sometimes we do have to build in a trailer to comply with building code. And that's the only reason that I will build in a trailer normally is building code. And in that case, we set on a stem wall foundation concrete, or we set on tubes with metal skirting around it, more like a traditional mobile home. But for me, the $49,000 home is unique in the country. You know, Boxable and these companies, they talk about it. They're not delivering a $49,000 home. They raise their prices. They have a flat roof. They don't meet snow load. They're not made for portability. Same with yurts, you know, not portable. They don't arrive fully assembled. So we may look like a simple box, but we're insulated. We meet snow, we meet rain, we meet everything. But in an easy way, you know, typical customer, mom has a farm, dad, and they can just put it on some gravel in the field, hook it up. They're good. For more in the city, say, a larger city, then we do have to go through additional engineering for foundation. The price will creep up a little bit.
Does it arrive built, or you built it on site?
Yep.
Or so
Fully built is literally it. We back it in, like say Prestone, your property, you've already put down your gravel, you have your water, your sewer, your electric. We drop it down, we skedaddle, you get your plumber out, you just connect the water and the sewer, the electric, and you can literally, the second he drives away, you can throw in your mattress. You want running water, but you're in the home from the second we deliver. And unlike tiny homes and trailers, we don't have wobble in the wind. We don't always have skirting. You don't need to protect the tires. So I think it's a way superior product for emergency housing and people just to know. And if you ever want to move it, you can call up my driver, anyone with a good truck. You can move it in the Western USA, wherever you want. It's a fully insulated, you know, very strong engineered product.
Now, will you be selling these just in Colorado? Can they potentially go out of state? Because I know right now in California, where I've been living, so many homes have burned in the wildfires, and when people get their settlements, they can't really afford to rebuild. So I think there's a huge potential, you know, cross-state market, like you said, dealing with things like you know, emergency housing. I mean, right now, a friend of mine just lost his home in the weed fire, the mill fire, and I think something like over 200 homes have burned. So how do you see that in the future, as far as possibly crossing state lines, and also, you know, I mean, maybe even getting government contracts with like FEMA or people that could be buying these up and utilizing these as emergency housing or as an alternative to just more pricey construction that people can't afford.
I did get an inquiry a bit ago, and I do get them sometimes for people in burn areas looking for housing. For example, there's a California gentleman recently who lost his home, and they have relaxed the building code standards so we can bring in an offsite structure like a camper or a modular unit. So that is possible. And then we also deal with wildland fire areas where we can clad the home in metal. So it's a very good product. The trickier part becomes, realistically, most of my customers, you know, half are in the city and half are in the country, and out of state costs a bit more money. It's a bit harder with the client. And so my main market is Colorado. Yeah, I can build for New Mexico, Arizona. It's really the same thing as villages. I get asked a lot, like, hey, you know, I want to do a village for veterans, for, you know, in Denver, this and that. I'm all for it. I'm ready to build 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 homes whenever. Do you have land, infrastructure, all the codes, the bonds? You know, it's a huge project to put in 10, 20, 30, 50 homes. But one person in, you know, Boulder, wildland fire, you know, lost a home, or California, of course, but how much red tape is there in that area? That's really the part, is the amount of red tape sometimes for these places and the certifications.
Right. Right. And a lot
It's
of
all
times,
permitted.
being from California, I know the amount of bureaucracy and red tape and also the power of the construction lobby putting pressure on counties or on building codes. I mean, they don't necessarily want to build green or build better or build cheaper. They want to, have a higher profit margin and that type of thing. So there is a lot of, politics associated with the whole bureaucracy of building and construction, and development, appropriate development, inappropriate development. I mean, look at the fire that just happened in Boulder, the Longmont fire, like 1,600. I call them Mick condos, just burned down. So what are people going to do in that situation? But let's rewind for a minute. What exactly constitutes what a tiny home is? What is it?
Generally speaking, a tiny home is anything under 400 square foot. Basically,
Is it under a certain? Is it?
no one really knows, but in Facebook, anything's a tiny home. You can show off pictures of a 1,500 square foot home, and it's a tiny home. But basically, for me and most builders, 399 square foot and less, because when we go over 400 square foot, then we're into modular and mobile homes. So generally, that's state of Colorado regulates modular, and the federal government regulates the mobile home industry. So 400 square foot on a trailer, not on a trailer. It could, be realms of containers, school bus things on wheels, tiny homes built with sticks, pallets, traditional construction. It's basically anything small. It used to be affordability, now not so much. But the premise for a lot of people is saving money and living free. And now it's mostly, they're more expensive. And my main premise for tiny homes is always like save money. It's a financial deal. So it's like, it's a small home. You can have a bigger home if you want, but it's just, you're here to save money, live more freely. And as a bonus, you get to have maybe less things, be closer to nature, utopia, have your garden, food, nature. I think it's such a no-brainer to have a small home in a field. We complain about housing problems in all these mountain villages in the cities. There's fields everywhere that has water, sewer, electric, and everything. So for me, it's easy to think about, putting up small homes easily. Price is right. People are free. We solve the housing thing. It's not going to happen. But in general, tiny home is just a small structure for you living closer to nature, downsizing, or financial free.
Yeah, I just saw Rising Appalachia perform in Buena Vista, Colorado, along the Arkansas River, and they actually put a little tiny village down there on the creek, and there was actually several tiny homes that were there too, and they looked really cute and really efficient, and you can maximize more people living in a smaller area, but then building these huge homes that cost a fortune to heat or air condition or things like that. I know years ago I went and visited Paula Soleri's model in Arizona, just north of Phoenix, about how you can have potentially 1,000 people live in a very tiny space without having like the typical urban sprawl. So that was really impressive to see. I think we have about another minute or two left. Anything else you'd like to share about your work? And of course, who doesn't love saving money? And I think people more and more over the last couple of years have learned the importance of living simpler, especially as we get into this whole potential recession. And I know a lot of people that were in crypto markets and Bitcoin, and that's crashed. I know people who were invested in the roulette wheel of the stock market, and that crashed. So we're, the idea right now that we're all trying to tighten our belts and live a little bit more simply and more affordably. Again, you're providing a great solution. But in the last few minutes we have, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I think you're spot on. I really think that the world is becoming harder to live in. A lot of people have made a lot of money in the past couple of years, and now a lot of America is, food is going to become harder. Water is becoming harder. Living free of natural disasters, having money, having jobs. I think the whole country is just becoming harder to be able to live and work. And I believe that you and me and other people in America who feel the calling to improve the world, whatever that means, whether it's farm or construction or spirituality, any method, we are the solution. So I'm gonna say that anyone who's here to bring solutions to the country, that's what we need. We are the people that need to be doing it, and we don't have to be amazing about it. We just need to actually do it and not wait for others because they're not going to do it.
Yeah, we're the ones we're waiting for, and if not us,
Yep.
who, and if not now, when. And I love what you said, because
Yes.
a big part of our Earthstock Foundation and these regenerative events is focused on full spectrum regenerative design. And a lot of people are always like, what does that mean? It means that we have to look at society and humanity and the environment more holistically. So it's like arts and culture, economic development, spirituality, green renewable energy, alternative housing models, food security, water security, alternative economics, even looking at things like in Peony, they have a huge project there called the Trading Post, where they do food security and food equity through an energy equity system in the community. So we have to really start looking at new models, because we can see the old one. It's funny because, during the whole last couple of years, people are like, I can't wait for it to get back to the way it was. And it's like, well, why would you want that? It was broken and toxic and falling apart. And the whole last 2 years of the pandemic and all these other things has just accelerated the reality of how broken things were. And now we still have things like the food supply and trucking issues, and not even to mention now the climate change, whether it's naturally occurring or human induced or a combination of both. But now, we know there's droughts in New Mexico, there's droughts in Arizona, in Nevada, in California, there's droughts even in the Midwest and the East Coast, there's droughts around the world. So it's really is a time to implement solutions. So, huge kudos to you, sir, for actually rolling up your sleeves and doing the work to bring solutions to the world as far as having practical alternatives. And before we go, how would people get in touch with you if they wanted more information?
That's easy. You can just Google Western Colorado Tiny House. We have a website for westerncoloradotinyhouse.com, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, maybe a Twitter someday, but Western Colorado Tiny House, Google. You come visit, call my cell phone anytime. I'm easy to get a hold of. This is my passion is affordable housing. I have many passions, but if they don't make money, sometimes they don't pay the bills. So this is my deal, and I'm here to help with anything for affordable small homes in the West and in Colorado. And I love what you're doing, and we need it.
Absolutely. And the paradigm's changing. The Solutionaries are going to be getting more and more support in the work that we're doing, because it's not about counterculture or some, unique alternative. Like, this is absolutely the solution. And the fall of the empire of extreme luxury and entitlement and convenience and comfort is shifting gears, and people are going to start needing more and more some of these solutions that you're offering. So again, this is Solutionaries. I'm your host, Michael DiMartino, where we interview different individuals and organizations that are really bringing solutions to a modern world to help us live more resilient, more green, more sustainable, and regenerative. I want to thank our guest today, DanielKennedy, for all the work that you're doing. And I'll probably be rolling through your neighborhood about Sunday or Monday of next week. So I look forward to just having that personal time and connection and seeing some of your work.
Keep on fighting the good fight. Look forward to seeing you.
All right, be well. And again, everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Solutionaries.
Thanks, Michael.